Everyone getting along as Iowa's college hoops meet up today in Des Moines. The Hawkeyes will look for their 6th straight win against Drake. Inside Wells Fargo Arena, basketball fans from all over Iowa converge in the state capitol as the Hawkeyes take the floor against the Bulldogs. With Sean Morris, I'm Wayne Rantazzo. We take a look at today's starting lineups. Iowa's top 7 scorers are underclassmen. That's reflected in their lineup. Tyler Cook leads the way. Junior Nicholas Bayer is finally healthy. He's making his 2nd straight start. Drake with lots of experience. Reed Timmer, their leading scorer. Fran McCaffrey's group get back on track. Got the victory against Southern in their last game. That broke a 4-game losing streak. Year number 8, and certainly a challenge for Fran McCaffrey with this young group of Hawkeyes, and especially today against a Drake team that carries a lot of juniors and seniors throughout their playing time.
And a lot of confidence coming off an outstanding performance in a losing effort earlier this week in the Twin Cities against a very sizable opponent in the Minnesota Golden Gophers. They face also a front line today, giving up a lot of size. Look for the ball when it goes inside to Cook. Look for the double team to try to get the ball out of his hands.
Extreme size advantage for Iowa. We'll see how they try to take advantage of that today. Double team down low as Cook had to get rid of it, looking for Moss. It was off Moss's hands and out of bounds. That's something that Fran McCaffrey wanted to see his team do, move the ball quickly, especially when those double teams came.
And especially coming off their last game, they only had 7 miscues against Southern. However, in the 3 previous games, when they averaged 18 turnovers in each of those ball games, leading to points off, that was a big reason for their losing streak.
Up top, and Drake with a flashy basket to start. Nick McGlynn throws it down. Nunji on the other end scores for Iowa, plus the foul.
And much like with Iowa, they have to handle the double teams in the half-court set. If you are Drake, you have to get back and get established defensively, because Iowa looking to push the pace. In the opening sequence for the Drake Bulldogs, they're able to get that back screen and a lob, something that Iowa kind of fell asleep on, breakdown in communication. But then defensively, Drake didn't get the job done. Bohannon pushed it up. Nice job of running the floor by Nunji.
3-point play works for Jack Nunji. And a steal for the Hawkeyes. It's Bayer. Too strong, though, off the glass. Timmer looking for that backdoor pass, maybe one extra pass there. Kind of took Drake out of rhythm. Murray fights his way into the paint. There's the size advantage for Iowa. Nunji knocks that ball out of bounds. Nico Medved coming over from Furman, where he had some success, made a couple of postseason appearances the last 2 years, into the CIT semifinals there. Woodward had a look at the basket, kicked it out, and McGlynn missed the 3. Tyler Cook from the top. Rebound, put back. Bayer trying to follow it up, but instead it goes out of bounds. It will belong to Drake.
And Wayne, that's a shot that Cook can hit, but if you're Drake, that's where you prefer to have him. If he knocks down that 15-foot jump shot consistently, you can live with that. You don't want to allow him one-on-one coverage down on the block. And if you are the Drake Bulldogs, once that ball goes up on the basket, they have to do a better job here in the early going. They did a fantastic job at Minnesota rebounding as a team. They'll need to do the same today.
McGlynn followed up Timmer, and McGlynn has all 4 for Drake early on. McGlynn is the only starter for Drake taller than 6'3".
Double team again.
Hawkeyes are hoping for some quicker passes out of those double teams. They work it around to Moss, who misses the 3. Good box out by McMurray for the rebound. All the way on the other end, it's C.J. Rivers who can't finish. Moss around a screen, then ran into a double team. They're going to call a foul away from the basket, actually a 3-second violation away from the basket against Tyler Cook.
A little bit of frustration by Tyler Cook there, because Drake has done a really good job, Wayne, of beating him to a spot and getting in front of him, and he kind of just got caught standing straight up in the lane, and officials caught him.
These teams capable of scoring a lot. Drake averaging 81 points per game. Iowa just under 80. A traveling violation, as we've seen the Achilles heel pop up here for both teams. Turnover. Sean mentioned the Iowa turnover situation this year. Drake, in their victories, averaging only 9 turnovers per game, and their losses 15.
They had a 14-2 points off turnover advantage versus Minnesota.
There's another Hawkeyes turnover. The steal for Drake. It's McMurray to the basket, drawing contact. And Deontay McMurray will go to the line. Foul on Nunji.
And a nice job by McMurray in the open floor, Wayne. Watch what he does. He doesn't just dribble in a straight line as they do a good job of batting it away. He goes and hunts out Nunji. He doesn't go straight. He puts his shoulder into him and forces the official to make a decision.
A senior decision by Deontay McMurray. This is a team that, although has lost a lot at Drake, they have certainly grown together this year. Casey Schlaughter checks in for the first time as McGlynn heads out. But this is a team that lost 24 games last year, 22 the year before that. Here comes Nico Medved. Suddenly they're 5-5 on the gate. Nearly beat Minnesota the other day.
They run some really sophisticated and enjoyable stuff to watch in the half-court set. A lot of misdirection. You mentioned it. Not a lot of size for Drake, but they run a lot of things that require a counter. And if defensively you're not locked in, then things happen like we saw to start the ball game. The lob, because everyone is so cognizant of their three-point shooting, they knock down over 40% of their threes as a team. They can't beat you going to the rim with some of their action.
Tyler Cook left alone for a moment, and there's the size over McMurray as Cook throws it down thunderously.
And that's why you double team him, because you don't want to allow him to set up shop that deep one-on-one.
This is Noah Thomas, the Australian native. Murray slips around Cook and goes high off the window, but it falls into the hands of Bayer on the rebound. Bohannon with the floater.
Bohannon knocks that down, but Cook did a very good job of remaining active on the post. Slaughter trying to overplay him so much that on the dribble drive, he had his back to Bohannon, which allowed him to turn the corner.
Drake goes 2 for 7 from the field so far. Good shooting team, one of the best three-point shooting teams in the nation. Trying to fight his way inside. Casey Schlaughter travels. There will be Iowa ball when we come back.
Nice job of running the floor by Tyler Cook. You don't want to allow him to set up shop. He will make you pay. You have to reward the big guy. Iowa does up early.
Already 3 lead changes, and it could be that kind of day here in Des Moines. Alongside Sean Morris, I'm Wayne Randaz, and we expect a good one here. Drake nearly beating Minnesota the other day, and Iowa's had some struggles this year.
Especially taking care of the basketball. That's been a story here in the early going. Each team with 3 miscues. However, Drake's been able to convert the 3 Iowa errors into 4 points off those turnovers. That was a big reason they were able to hang around in the Twin Cities. They enjoyed a 14-2 points off turnovers advantage. However, the Minnesota Golden Gophers pounded them into paint 42-18, and I was going to try to replicate that.
That's Noah Thomas after the steal. He almost lost it. Thomas sends it out and around. It's Timmer with the attack, and maybe an extra step inside.
And a nice job by Timmer looking off Cook. He thought he was going to kick it to the corner, and Timmer shifted hands and got it back to his left.
Reed Timmer averaging more than 20 a game as Moss attacks the glass.
Nice little action. It's an automatic dive, Wayne. When you dribble at your teammate, as Cook did there, Moss understands, goes right to the rim, and is rewarded.
Here's Reed Timmer. He fights his way to the free throw line.
Active hands by the Drake Bulldogs. Not necessarily a thing of beauty at the beginning, but they keep the ball moving. And watch what he does here. Kind of looks off. Cook thought he was going to dump it off in the corner, but he brings it back then to his left hand, and good completion by Timmer, who's been held in check over the last game and the first few minutes of this ball game. He's the leading scorer at about 22 per outing, and that's a rare occasion when Reed Timmer misses a free throw, 93% from the line prior to that.
We had made 22 consecutive free throws until that miss, as Oriaro Gundade checks in for Drake. Jalen Gibbs, the few freshmen of the Bulldogs will play, stepping in as well, as Timmer makes the second.
And Luka Garza into the ball game for Iowa, coming off a really solid performance last time out for the Hawkeyes. Had a double-double with 23 points, 13 rebounds, 6 on the offensive window.
Garza started the first 9 games. Nicholas Bayer had been in and out, had a broken left pinky that cost him 6 games. He's been coming off the bench a little bit, but it seems like Bayer has reclaimed his starting role as Cook goes up over the defense.
Really nice execution on that inbounds play, Wayne. The high little X screen, you screen the high post on the opposite side and dive to the rim. Good bounce pass and completion.
Reed Timmer, the ball will be in his hands a lot today. And this one's out of bounds off of Drake, so Iowa will have possession.
Really good execution on the inbounds play. You saw the screener coming from the left block up to the right elbow, and then the dive by Cook. Good execution on the inbounds by the Hawkeyes.
Iowa's made its last 4 consecutive baskets. Three on the way from Moss, falls short. Trying to fight for his own rebound, but Timmer drags it away.
Good job by Moss of jumping that left hand of Timmer there.
Timmer only 8 points against Minnesota. First time this year he's been held to single digits. Noah Thomas got loose along the baseline.
Oh, he who hesitates is not necessarily lost. Thomas, a nice utilization of the hesitation dribble, freezing the defender.
That's Garza missing the 3. Wagner skies for the rebound, and the nice feed to Cook for the dunk.
Very nice unselfish play. And how about that pass in tight quarters from Ahmad Wagner to his teammate? He didn't put too much on it, and more importantly for the big guy, didn't put it below his knees, put it up where he could handle it.
Foul call. This one will be against Garza.
Nice utilization of the hype. Now watch the hesitation. Boom! You're by the defender. Great job by the freshman Thomas. And then Iowa returns the favor. You expect them to dominate on the offensive glass. They do. Wonderful pass from one big to the other. Good utilization of passing with a purpose with the bounce by Wagner to Cook.
Cook will step out for a little bit. Connor McCaffrey's in the game. Second appearance for him this year. 3 on the way from Reed Timmer. It bounces out, and the rebound falls to Cordell Pemsel.
Pemsel back in the lineup after suffering a leg laceration in the latter stage of the Iowa State game. Did not play versus Southern.
Flipping it back out to Macy Daly. See just about all the Hawkeyes that you expect to see in this one, with Pemsel back and McCaffrey in there as well. But another takeaway for the Drake defense. Timmer, the catch and shoot, knocks down the 3.
That's a tough shot by Timmer because that pass was down around his kneecaps. He had to get it back up into the shooting pocket. But again, the double team on the post led to that opportunity in the breakout for the Drake Bulldogs.
Timmer, a top 10 3-point shooter in the country. That's his first of the day. Here's Garza. And we'll call that a 2 as it bounces out. And Thomas hits the rebound. Thomas is very quick, as we've seen already today. Had a nice feed there to McGlynn, but McGlynn couldn't handle it.
The double team again paying dividends. The ball is jarred loose. Thomas pushes it. Head is up. That's a tough pass to handle if you're Timmer, because you have to go down and get it. Nice job of getting it into the shooting pocket. And if you're Iowa right now, you want to get something going toward the rim. They've settled for jump shots the last 2 or 3 possessions.
There's been a half dozen lead changes and a few ties in this game. Connor McCaffrey gives it to Garza. Rolls out. Garza fighting for that rebound. Aro Gundade got knocked from behind, and it's out of bounds. It will stay with the Hawkeyes. Good battle early on here in Des Moines as Drake and Iowa duke it out. Basketball on BTN is brought to you in part by State Farm, here to help life go right. So far, it's Drake leading Iowa 14-13. Drake with 9 points off of turnovers. The Hawkeyes with none. Last time these two teams played right here in Des Moines a couple of years ago was the opposite. Iowa outscored Drake 18-0 in points off of turnovers. Reed Timmer has 6 points for Drake so far.
Had 25 in that aforementioned game a couple of years ago, and turnovers continuing to be a problem. 5 turnovers for the Iowa Hawkeyes, 4 coming from that front court. So the double team on that post is paying dividends thus far.
Pemzo up inside to Garza. Second try works for Luka Garza, the freshman.
I really like how Garza keeps the ball high. Even though the first offering came up a little short, he didn't drop it down. Solid fundamental play by the freshman.
Garza gets the steal. Here come the Hawkeyes again. McCaffrey leading the way for the offense.
Nice pass.
There's Pemzo on the other end of it. And a foul call.
Wait, Luka Garza, 23 points, 13 rebounds, 6 of the offensive variety last time versus Southern. Keeps the ball high, not just on the initial offering, but also on the second chance. And he's coming in to this ballgame and it's given Iowa a nice little lift in terms of energy and effort thus far.
Foul was on Jalen Gibbs, his second. Garza was the initial Big Ten Freshman of the Week to start the season. A couple of big games against Chicago State and Alabama State. Pemzo got knocked by Woodward, trying to get that steal inside. First foul against Woodward.
And a nice job by Garza, the freshman. There's been a concerted effort by Drake to double team the post, but look what he does. He doesn't turn his back to the play, Wayne. He turns and faces the basket. Catch, turn, locate the defender, and when you see that double team coming, that's where the open teammate is going to be. Kind of like a blitz in football. If it's coming from the left, chances are he's got a hot receiver on that same side.
Get out. Garza at the free throw line. They left him alone, so why not?
Yeah, I like this young guy. I mean, he comes in and plays hard. Been very active with his hands. Jarred up a couple balls loose on the defensive end of the floor. Again, really nice job by Garza of not dying on that little rub screen and then coming in with that left hand to knock it away. Runs the floor extremely well. Timmer from a few possessions ago, knocking down the three. You need to get him going. You have to close out under control, or he can't be getting to the rim as he shows you there.
McGlynn with his second dunk of the day on the feed from Timmer. McGlynn really the only true big man for Drake as far as getting big minutes.
Drake really sagging in to try to provide some help down there on the block.
Daly misses on an air ball from 3. Woodward almost lost it. Now he does. Ellingson ends up with the basketball, and he's fouled by McGlynn. That's one thing with Nick McGlynn. We talk about him really being the only size that Drake has. That's 2 fouls now.
Not necessarily a thing of beauty from end to end. It starts with the air ball, and then Woodward, there's a time and a place for the behind the back. That's not necessarily the case, especially when you have the big trailing it.
Keep an eye on McGlynn's foul trouble. He's fouled out 3 games already this year. After that, it's Slaughter, and I don't know what Drake would do beyond that.
Maybe put 2 guys on each other's shoulders.
Pemzo wild with that approach.
Drake has numbers, 2 bigs for Iowa trailing the play, and they blow the opportunity with an unforced error, the second in as many possessions by the 5th-year senior Woodward.
Graham Woodward began his collegiate career at Penn State, former Big Ten player.
They had numbers because both Garza and Pemzo were on the other side of the court. They had a 2-man advantage, and Woodward just not able to take advantage.
Ryan Kriener's in the game for Iowa. Bohannon returns.
Now, if you're Iowa, you might want to try to get a touch for Cook. It's been a while. You know, he's been on the bench a little bit. get a touch for Cook. If they can get him isolated one-on-one.
Greener with the left-hand hook doesn't go. Rebound for C.J. Rivers. Rivers gets a lot of rebounds for Drake. He's the team's leading rebounder. Stands all of 6'2".
And that may be with the metric system. I'm not sure if he really is 6'2".
Timmer working over Ellingson. That extra pass a couple of times inside from Drake today.
And in really tight quarters, that might have been one where Timmer would have been better served, even though he's not going to his strong or left hand. He had a chance, I think, to maybe put it up on the window rather than try to make that pass. Drake fortunate to maintain possession.
Shot clock at 5. McMurray forces up the 3 and connects. McMurray with the shot clock winding down.
When Drake bails themselves out, this is not bad defense. I mean, you got 2 hands up and able to just knock it down. But again, if you are Drake, you have to get back in defensive transition and set up shot, because Cook runs the floor so well and able to draw yet another foul on that undersized Drake front line.
Tyler Cook doesn't want to put one up from there.
Good strong duck, and they missed him.
Wiener thought about it. Shot clock at 5 for Bohannon. As he stops and pops over Noah Thomas.
And Jordan Bohannon just bailed them out of a pretty stagnant offensive possession. Prior to his dribble to the left side, the ball had been almost exclusively on that right side of the floor, and Drake only had to defend that part of the floor, but Bohannon bailed him out.
Murray again for 3. We've seen him connect on 2 straight possessions from that same spot.
And what's that going to set up next, Wayne? If they get the opportunity, if you don't close out of control, a chance to get to the basket for Drake, but Iowa returns the favor again. They can run so many bigs at you. You can see that Drake is struggling to get back in defensive transition and protect inside out.
Ryan Greener on the board after a season-high 6 points in his last game against Southern. Murray trying to get away from Ellingson, and a foul is called.
Iowa, a stagnant possession, but Bohannon able to bail them out in a dogfight with Drake.
Nico Medved took over a Furman program that was at the bottom of the SoCon, then made them conference champions by the time he was out of there. Spent a long time with Tim Miles at Colorado State, of course, the Nebraska head coach, who has started to develop quite a coaching tree.
Well, Saw Phillips, who was at Ohio, was at North Dakota State prior to that. You see Dave Richmond continuing that tradition. Craig Smith, the job that he has done at South Dakota, they were the regular season Summit League champs a year ago, and they put a beating on Drake earlier this season. That South Dakota team, very, very good.
And Nico Medved, along with his assistants, J.R. Blunt, Ali Farouk-Manesh, over there as well as Dave Thorson, a veteran on that crew, as McMurray puts up another 3, made 2 in a row. Balls to the Hawkeyes, and they promptly have that ball go out of bounds. Referee sorting it out. We'll stay with Iowa.
If you're Drake here, you have to be cognizant of the fact that Iowa, in a similar situation, although the ball wasn't inbounded from the exact same place, looked to run that cross screen from small to big up top. Good job by Drake in taking it away.
Bayer thought about a shot off the inbound. Instead, it's Ellingson who went for the catch and shoot. Rebound got poked to McMurray. He's on the run. He had a man in the corner. It's Thomas for 3 to put Drake up by 5 by its biggest lead yet.
Beautiful job by Thomas of fanning out and running to the corner. And again, if you are Drake, you have to run and sprint to the rim, because Cook will make you pay. And Nico Medved was just apoplectic because that was not accomplished.
Cook already has 10 points, and we've seen that happen a couple of times where Iowa's gotten loose quickly after a basket.
And Iowa going to a little bit of a 2-3 zone, giving Drake a different look here. Nice cut.
Timmer takes the 3. This is well short. Bayer gets the rebound.
He was fighting his feet and fading away on that one. That was a very difficult shot by Timmer.
these teams can make their threes. We've already seen Drake hit 4. Iowa's yet to make one from beyond the three-point line. They hit 13 in their win against Southern. They've been going inside to Cook. It's Bayer, though, with the follow-up.
Slaughter just got back in, allowing Cook to get the ball up on the rim, and then you see the fresher legs of that Iowa front line. Even when Cook wasn't able to convert, you saw Bayer come in there and clean it up.
Getting all their scoring done inside, as to be expected with their size advantage over Drake. 3-try, Thomas. On the rebound, Thomas ran into his own teammate. It's Slaughter with the jump shot that doesn't go. Hawkeyes with a chance to take the lead back. So many lead changes already in this game. We've seen 8, 4 on each side. Bohannon. Bayer over the top for that rebound.
That was clean. You can come over the top and over the back without making contact, and Bayer did just that.
Coming up at the half, State Farm halftime report, Dave Rivson and Rob Hummel will be joining us from the studio. We've seen a good ball game here so far, as expected. There was no reason to believe that Drake wouldn't give Iowa a real challenge here this afternoon.
They came in with a great deal of confidence after their performance in a losing effort in the Twin Cities, and a big reason for that was their ability to capitalize off Minnesota miscues.
Thomas trying to get funky on that pass. Flipped it over the head of Rivers and out of bounds.
This is the third or fourth really unforced turnover by Drake. Remember, you had the dribble behind the back by Woodward that went awry, then you stepped on the sideline. So if you're Drake, you want to make sure that you maximize and win the turnover battle. And thus far, Iowa has really steadied that pace.
That one is out of bounds. It will stay with Iowa. 8 turnovers from the Bulldogs, 6 for the Hawkeyes. And the points off of turnovers, where Drake had the edge early on. They had the first 9, but out of Iowa scored the last 4.
Nice pass.
Hook with a bunch of white jerseys around. Gets 2 plus the foul.
Really nice job, Wayne, by Nicholas Bayer. So many times guys don't dribble with a purpose. This is called dribbling with a purpose, because what it does is it enhances your passing angle, and that allows Cook to get beyond the last line of defense, take some contact, and complete. But a solid use of the jump stop, and more importantly, the bounce pass to Cook makes this possible. 12 points for Cook, 6 for 8 from the field, now 13. He's already matched his season average in this game. And since the first couple of possessions, he's been very decisive and has made his move before that double team can get there, because that was paying dividends for Drake early on.
Thomas trying to go high over the defense. Greener ends up getting the rebound for Iowa. Moss takes it to the hoop, and Iowa has its biggest lead so far. Timeout, Drake. Isaiah Moss on the run off the window, and the Hawkeyes gaining some steam. Last year, Iowa got nearly half of their scoring from freshmen, so it's not surprising to see the development continue as those freshmen turn to sophomores.
Bohannon and Cook, members of the all-freshman, all-Big Ten team a year ago. Isaiah Moss starting to develop some consistency, and Cordell Pemsel, who's been hindered here this afternoon, Wayne, with a little bit of a leg injury, led the conference in field goal percentage, so there was a lot to like as those freshmen matriculated to sophomore status. And Tyler Cook really playing well after kind of a shaky first couple of minutes, has done a wonderful job of running the floor and beating that depleted Drake front line down the floor.
Another turnover from Drake. Bayer on his way to the basket. Waited for McMurray, no contact, but the basket anyway for Bayer, and Iowa out to a 7-point lead.
And that's the 9th Drake turnover. That was an area they had to dominate. They're very close right now. Another one.
And there it is, number 10 from the Bulldogs.
Nice change of pace by Coach Fran McCaffrey out of that dead ball, of extending the defense a little bit. They've done that a number of times, but active hands And Bear doing a nice job of waiting for the flyby and the conversion, and then they're able to set up again off that make, leading to another Drake miscue.
9-0 run for the Hawkeyes. Drake has turned it over 3 of their last 4 possessions. Hawkeyes have taken advantage. The free throw line. Moss with the drop.
Nice job by Moss, cutting hard. Had his hands up, ready to shoot the ball. Good delivery by Cook.
Moss and Cook both having good days today. Moss has 6 points. They're going to call a foul here against Nicholas Bayer.
And what they got there with that call, and you saw the official, it's a point of emphasis, Wayne. It's called violating the other player's cylinder. You're entitled to kind of an invisible cylinder around you, and when someone steps in there aggressively and assertively and creates the contact, that was the call. You have yet to violate my cylinder, and I appreciate that.
You're about a foot and a half taller than me, so it'd probably be the other way around. Here's Woodward for 3. Drake likes that spot up there on the left wing.
And you have to come out hands high on these 3-point shooters of Drake. And players like Woodward will make you pay.
Block from Corey Kinsley. Drake has hit 5 threes. Aro Gundade tried to make it 6. A rebound for Bayer.
Nice.
Great touch passes from Iowa to work it to Greener. He shimmies toward the hoop. A rebound for Aro Gundade.
They can't lose sight of Timmer in the corner here.
Timmer runs all the way to the other side, but couldn't get that roll. Bayer with another rebound. He's reached the season high today. The corner, Moss. He hits the 3.
And McMurray flew out there, Wayne, but his hands were down around his hips. He didn't come out high. As a result, Moss had a good, clean look at the rim.
There's triple for the Hawkeyes in this one. Gundade attacks. He gets blocked from behind by Bayer. Iowa's defense has created offense this afternoon. But a turnover from Cook will give it back to the Bulldogs. Don't forget halftime coming up. State Farm halftime report. Dave Revson and Rob Hummel from the studio.
And on that dead ball situation, if you're the Drake front line, such as it is, you have to look out there and say, okay, well, Bayer goes to the bench, but here comes Garza, and here comes Ahmad Wagner. So fresh bodies along that front line continue to wear down Drake.
No question, Frank McCaffrey enjoys that depth. Woodward with another 3, and that's what will keep Drake alive in this game. They had 12 against Minnesota. They've got 6 in this one.
I'll tell you what he didn't enjoy was yet again Woodward being able to shoot that 3 as his defender came out with his hands down.
Bohannon tries to get it back.
I think he landed on the defender's foot. You see him grabbing his ankle there. Might have just kind of rolled that ankle over on the landing.
Bohannon, who hits nearly 3 threes a game, the most in the Big Ten, has his first today.
And if you're Drake right now, maybe try to drive past him, test that ankle.
Reed Timmer trying to go up, and he does, around the 6'11" Garza. Timmer giving up about 10 inches there. The timeout is called, and Bohannon continues to hobble.
You mentioned it. He's the leader in made threes per ball game, and as I suspected, yeah, he came down on the foot of Woodward, and that'll get your attention. He's probably done that a number of times. You play the game long enough, that's going to happen, but you could tell he was wincing right away. And, you know, with the halftime rapidly approaching under a minute in clock time, my guess is they're going to go back in there, make sure that they get it retaped if necessary, because the biggest thing you're worried about, Wayne, is swelling. If you get cold long enough, that thing will start to swell, so probably some ice on there and then a retape during the halftime locker room break.
Rolled it up pretty good. You see him struggling after that, so a 49-second head start to the locker room for Bohannon. Iowa's hit a couple of threes on their last few possessions. They have 12 assists on their 18 made field goals. That's about on par for what they do as a team. Around 2/3 for the season. Cook lost that ball going up.
That just slipped out of his hands. I haven't seen a look like that disappointment since my wife brought me home to meet her family.
5-second difference between the shot clock and game clock. Timmer's been busy. Murray's hit a couple of threes.
Good job by Moss of closing out and then forcing McMurray into traffic.
He got totally lost.
Really good job by Isaiah Moss.
Shot clock is off. Iowa will try for one last shot in this first half. Caffrey runs the point with Bohannon injured. Under 3 seconds now. It's a three from Wagner. It's a little bit too strong. As we reach halftime here in Des Moines, Iowa shooting 51% from the field. They lead Drake 40-33. After the break, stay tuned for the State Farm Halftime Report with Dave Refson and Rob Hummel. Jordan Bohannon twisted his ankle near the end of the first half. We'll see if he's back out there for the start of the second as Iowa has a 40-33 lead on Drake. And with Sean Morris, I'm Wayne Randazzo here in Des Moines. At Wells Fargo Arena, we saw the Hawkeyes really dominate inside and take advantage of turnovers as well.
They were especially able to dominate when the double team from Drake wasn't able to get there in time. Iowa has turned the ball over, the preponderance of those coming from the front line, but when they've been able to get set up inside, it has been money for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And this is a great example, Wayne, for our Bass Pro Shops in the net. The bigs run the floor very well, and Tyler Cook has been the beneficiary, whether it be in the half court and an out of bounds or running the floor in transition. If you're in the Drake uniform, you have to make sure you go back and protect the rim first.
Iowa shooting 50% from the field. We see the advantage in points in the paint. Cook has 11. Nicholas Bayer, 9 rebounds. That's a season high for him. And really, the Hawkeyes are glad to have Bayer healthy after he had that broken finger early on. This is really the first game, I think you could say, all season that Iowa's had a complete array of their players.
And Bayer, you mentioned the 9 rebounds, also 3 assists, a block, and a couple of steals. And, you know, with that ankle being rolled by Bohannon, McCaffrey got some time in the first half, but let's not forget, he's been battling mono, so what is his stamina going to be like if he has to play extended minutes?
McGlynn, who scored a few points early on for Drake inside. It's the first bucket of this second half. And discount Drake's offense. They get back into the game quickly. Only down 5. Making 7 of their last 11 shots. And they're 1 for 1 in the second half as Tyler Cook gets going again.
Good job by Cook of understanding that side of the floor was cleared out and put his shoulder right toward the rim. Tough conversion.
From the top of 3, does it go for McMurray. A rebound for Bayer, that's number 10. Handed back on the floor, feeds Moss, who misses the 3. And Bayer, another rebound. Bohannon for 3. The ankle seems fine for Jordan Bohannon. A whistle at the end of the play, McGlynn.
And I think they might have gotten Tyler Cook on this, but Bohannon doing a very good job of creating space. That was all made possible, Wayne, because of the activity on the offensive glass by Nicholas Bayer.
Nicholas Bayer now with 11 rebounds, 1 shy of his career high 12. Accomplished last year against Notre Dame. Iowa with the day's first double-digit lead. Timmer's open, he was for a while. They couldn't find him. Shot clock inside of 5. Doesn't matter for C.J. Rivers underneath.
Rivers, nice job of utilizing that ball fake, froze the Iowa defense and able to get to the other side and utilize the rim to protect himself from the shot blocker, and then an illegal screen will go as a turnover against Tyler Cook.
And for Tyler Cook, that's his second foul. has, and Bayer knocked it out of bounds. It will belong to the Hawkeyes.
And when we talked about it in the first half, the number of turnovers by Drake. Now, this could go down as a forced turnover, but on an inbound situation, not necessarily a press, you could really make a case that that was another unforced error by Drake.
Fortunately for the Bulldogs, Iowa can't convert.
Good job by Nuntia finding Woodward there.
Huge size advantage as Woodward feeds it up top to McGlynn. McGlynn has 10.
Good duck in. Well, Cook's really working hard to try to get position. Good active hands, too.
Woodward with the takeaway, but he gets it poked out by Bayer. Now Cook is fouled. It didn't look like he was the one fouled because he's the one left standing, but it was McMurray who drew the foul.
This is one of those Christmas fruitcakes. I don't want it, you take it. And it leads to a block call. I like that call. You know, Cook was just trying to make a move. I don't think the Drake defender was necessarily set, but neither team very crisp with the ball right there.
Catch and shoot off the inbound. Bayer sinks the jump shot.
He was instrumental when these two teams played a year ago, blocked 6 shots, 13.7 boards in a hard-fought game that went almost all the way down to the end before offensive fail.
Big Ten freshman of the week because of that game. Well, he's tied his career high with 12 rebounds. Bayer for 3. Rebounds finds its way to Garza.
They got Cook again. That was just frustration on the part of Cook. He's battling the smaller Rivers down there on the block, and you know, Rivers did a pretty good job of blocking him out. Cook was able to get the rebound initially, but then Rivers did not give up on the play. And when he tried to get around in front, what you're going to see that draws the attention of the official here by Cook, once you extend that arm straight out as he does there, if you keep that elbow bent, you have that opportunity. But once you extend your arm as a post player to try to create a swim move, it draws the attention of the official.
Murray tried the flyby, and he gets fouled.
And I like what Drake's doing. There's still plenty of time. Yes, they're down 8. But Wayne, when you consider the fact that as a team you shoot 80% from the foul line, if these fouls continue to add up and you're able to get to the line and get to the bonus relatively early with double-digit minutes, it's going to help your cause.
Woodward, the deep 3 doesn't go. Iowa's committed 4 fouls already in the second half.
Nice pass.
It's Garza trying to swim around the defense. But he's fouled. It was Rivers who committed the foul. His first, as Garza will go to the line.
Good job of rim running by Garza. Excellent floor spacing by Iowa, and then the court awareness by Bayer to find the freshman Garza. And you know, Garza shooting 49% from the foul line. That is going to pick up because he's got a nice looking stroke. I think this is just a matter of confidence. There's nothing mechanically that would lead you to believe that his free throw percentage isn't going to continue to improve, not just this year, but as his career goes on. Nice looking form.
It was actually 8 for 10 in the game against Southern earlier in the week. So they already feel like Garza's trying to turn a corner there. Offensive rebound after the missed free throw. And Iowa unable to get that 3 to drop from Bayer. Woodward is fouled. Looks like they got Garza for that one. Actually, going to say it's Pencil. Nope, Moss called for that foul.
Yeah, and that's the 15th foul. So, you know, one more, and then on the 7th, you go into that bonus situation. So if you're Drake, Wayne, continue to attack off the dribble.
Actually, I'm going to say Garza now.
I think you had it right the first time.
Yeah. At least somebody's got to get it right.
Yeah, exactly. No, you had it right the first time. I got you.
For Garza, that's his 3rd foul. I get to listen to these guys.
And then another unforced turnover by Drake. I mean, you get a break with the dribble drive, and you continue to build the fouls on Iowa, but then you just give the ball right back on an unforced error. And Luka Garza, you mentioned it, the game he had against Southern, 6 of those boards were of offensive variety. Nice little wheel action by Iowa. And Bear thought that Bohannon was going to continue to flare out to the corner.
Noah Thomas checks back in for Drake. Shifty Australian freshman comes in. Woodward heads out. Bunch of turnovers on each side, especially for Drake.
Another one that almost got your mail down.
Thomas able to reach up for it. Dada.
He's cognizant of the shot blockers. He took his eye off the rim to try to locate the defender, Wayne.
Bayer's had a strong afternoon. Another rebound, plus 2 points for Nicholas Bayer. A new career high, 13 rebounds. He has 8 points, and here comes a turnover. Bayer. Oh, that double-double, he couldn't. Garza gets 2 instead. And they're going to call a technical foul, or rather a timeout.
Yeah, timeout. Yep.
Excuse me, a timeout called by Drake. Iowa building a big lead. They're up by 13. Seven to shoot. Utah buries it, and Iowa leads by 2. Another great 10-year anniversary moment on the Big Ten Network as Iowa leads Drake by 13 today. Hawkeyes have taken advantage of the Drake turnover situation. As we see all the Iowa teams playing here today as part of the Hy-Vee Classic. Of course, Iowa, as far as the sturdiness in the state of Iowa, Hawkeyes with the most NCAA tournament appearances, more Final Fours than the other 3 teams combined. Drake has it coming out of a timeout. Team timeout, not the media timeout. Arnold Gonzalez hits the 3.
Nice job of getting in that gut of that zone defense and then kicking it out. Attacking off the dribble.
With a 7-0 Iowa run. First 3-pointer of the second half for Drake.
That was a dangerous pass. That had to get through a lot of hands to get across the court.
And it just tosses it up.
Nice block out down low. Really good job by Drake there.
Arnold Gonzalez who got the rebound. His pass. Schroeder wasn't quite ready for it. He couldn't get the basket either.
Brooks has been in there quite a while. Fortunate he wouldn't call for 3 seconds. Did a nice job of breaking the count and getting back in.
Foul on Arnold Gonzalez. Should have said that ball was just out of bounds, so will be Iowa ball.
Drake trying to fight back, but Iowa, nice job of moving without the basketball, able to get the ball inside. Iowa's ball when we return.
Iowa's freshmen big men have performed nicely so far this year.
Very athletic, run the floor extremely well. Nice touch out to about 10 or 12 feet. And Garza in particular over the last couple of games has really given them a lift emotionally as well as productive-wise off the bench.
Garza coming from the D.C. area, 7 points, 5 rebounds today. Funny story about Jack Nungy, who went to high school in Indiana but grew up in Coralville, Iowa. Lived on the same block that Fran McCaffrey moved onto as the Nungy family was moving to Indiana. They crossed paths for about a week. Jack briefly met Fran McCaffrey, was in 5th grade, doesn't remember it. Garza will go to the free throw line.
Nice set on the dead ball situation. Trying to utilize the high-low that paid some dividends early on. And again, the ability, Wayne, by Garza to keep the ball high makes that play possible. A lot of big guys would want to go from 6'11 to 5'11 by bringing the ball down below their shoulders, and Garza does not fall into that trap.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense to me. If I were really tall, I'd keep everything above water.
Well, then they ask you to clean the top of the fridge. That's why I'm kept around.
Luka Garza makes both free throws. Iowa's lead is a dozen.
And this pressure has paid dividends as well. Not necessarily always with the turnover, but it's forced Drake to burn so much clock that their ability to really reverse the basketball has been limited.
Murray to get to the basket, but he couldn't get the ball to go in it.
That's probably about the 4th or 5th point-blank shot that Drake's not been able to convert.
Hemzel was triple teamed, and wow, Schlaughter really ripped that ball away. I looked all innocent when he came up for air, but that initial aggression from Schlaughter caught some eyes.
And Iowa very fortunate because this pass leads Pemsl into a lot of trouble. Look at that. You have 3 and a 4th jersey coming over there. They're going to take a look just to see if there was anything in terms of a flagrant. I don't think there is. That's just a basketball play and a couple guys going at it. But they have to take a look at this. But this pass is dangerous. That's leading him into a lot of trouble, and a nice job of rotating over by Schlaughter. But he loses the feats of strength versus Pemsl there.
Third foul against Schlaughter. As the officials take a look to see if there's anything more to it.
Yeah, lob pass and the Schlaughter coming over.
What about this type of play would change it from being just a regular foul to something more?
If there was anything, if you saw like a forearm extended or an elbow going to the head, I didn't see any of that. But anytime you have players that there was some incidental contact above the shoulders, that's just, you know, part of what everyone's looking at now. But
just an ordinary foul called there against Schlaughter.
That's what I thought it would be, and the officials confirmed that.
It'll be Iowa ball after that foul. Nice cut to Pemsl as he scores to the basket.
Nice job of slipping that screen by Pemsl. Really headsy play by Pemsl to slip that screen and run right to the rim.
Iowa's out to its largest lead.
Yeah, I think they got Wagner kind of clearing them out, and Iowa sharing the basketball very well. And when this is our State Farm assist of the game, take another look at what Pemsl does. You come up, you set the screen, you slip it, the defenders don't communicate, and Pemsl able to get to the strong hand and complete.
Led Iowa in assists last year as a freshman, out to it again this year. As that ball rolls out of bounds, it will belong to Iowa.
You come up, you slip it, breakdown in communication, make the defenders make a decision. A little bit of hesitation allows Pemsl to get to the rim and finish.
Guys, glad to have Pemsl back to playing their last game. Picked up his leg a little bit against Iowa State. Falling to the ground, connected with a chair. He had 3 layers of stitches because of it. Cannon hits the 3 with Thomas in his face. Third 3 for Bohannon. He has 13 points. Iowa another 7-0 run. Timmer ran into traffic. Thomas bailed him out. Now it's Arnold Gundade from the baseline over Pemsl.
Nice job by Arnold Gundade there, utilizing the shot fake and then allowing the taller Iowa defender to fly by.
So with a strong move toward the hoop. He'll go to the line again.
Man, I like this kid. I mean, he sprints down the floor, takes the defender under the rim, and then watch what he does when the interior feed comes to him. Calls for the ball, demands it, now he chins it. Right there, he chins it, rips it through, and forces the defender to foul. Nice job by the freshman.
Archer made an impression early on this season, had a double-double against Alabama State. That was in just his 2nd game, 5th Hawkeye in the last 20 years to have a double-double in his first or second in the game. Last guy to do that was Aaron White.
Had a very nice career in Iowa City, the great state of Ohio.
And it comes off. Connor McCaffrey back in. 2 more free throws for Luka Garza. Kriener returns.
And again, we mentioned it in the first half, Wayne, but if you're Drake and Slaughter and McGlynn, they're like, hey, where's our help? Because every time they look up, there's a couple of fresh bodies along that Iowa line, and it's really paid dividends. And the unforced errors being committed by Drake continues to dig them a big hole. That's not something that they did earlier this week in the Twin Cities. 16
turnovers from Drake in this game. We've seen at least a handful of them just like that. Nicholas Bayer will inbound. He's working on a double-double potential today. 8 points, 13 rebounds for him. Rebounds a career high. Good game for the Hawkeyes. Almost lost it. Here's Bayer for three, and a double-double for Nicholas Bayer.
And Bayer did his work when that pass was in the air. He caught it with his knees bent, so all he had to do was pivot and bring that strong foot up before the defender could react. Good job by Bayer there.
Nick McGlynn with another dunk. The Hawkeyes starting to run away in this second half. Bayer's got 11 and 13. Pemsel and McCaffrey. Turn by Pemsel. After the catch, he gets the basket plus the foul.
Nicholas Bayer does his work with the ball in the air, continuing his outstanding performance. Catch, release, Iowa pulling away in Des Moines.
That's unusual to be in an Iowa basketball game and not see the great Gary Dolphin calling it on the sideline.
Yeah, Gary, Zach Mackey filling in for Gary Dolphin today. Dolphin, one of the really great guys. Forget about the business, just in life that you'll ever meet. You know, had an unfortunate accident, slipped in his driveway. That, I guess, is the cost of doing business when, you know, as a fellow Iowan, you're out there trying to shovel your driveway. And had some serious injury to his knee, some surgery. I had the opportunity to talk to him earlier today, so I wish him a speedy recovery. And been a fixture along that sideline for Iowa, calling games, both football and basketball, for over a couple decades now. Bobby Hansen, the gentleman in the blue sweater, for people that follow Big Ten basketball will remember him as a great player on that Final Four team for Coach Lute Olson in 1980, and went on to a long and productive career in the NBA after starting at Dowling High School in Des Moines. Anything else you want to know there, Wayne?
Well, you know, I think a lot about you guys from back in that era, the 80s and 90s. It's Bayer harassed McCaffrey, knocks it out of bounds, but you guys could have really used the Big Ten network back then and really elevate you guys as stars.
It would have done that, but the thing that would have been most pressing would have been the fact to have some shorts that were not as snug and might have had some natural fibers.
Woodward takes it inside and lost it. Bayer falls hard, but gets right back up. Seems to be okay. What a day this has been for Nicholas Bayer. We mentioned the double-double.
Goes up strong with two hands. Incidental contact, will go to the floor. And you know, Wayne, you talked about it earlier. He was out for half a dozen games with that fracture in his pinky finger, and he's really just starting to round into form. And even though he has a double-double today, this is a young man in Nicholas Bayer that can impact the game without having to score a bunch of points, because he's active on the defensive end, can guard multiple positions, and even if he's not able to corral a rebound, will keep a lot of plays alive.
He's got 13 rebounds. He has 4 steals and 4 assists. Last Iowa player to have all that in one game, Reggie Evans in the year 2000. Nico Medved has seen enough of Nicholas Bayer today. Kinsling comes in. Glenn heads out with 4 fouls. He and Schlauter both have 4 fouls. Kinsling really number 3 in depth chart. Doesn't play a whole lot. 6'11" redshirt junior. Appearing in just his 9th game today. Cordell Pemsel at the line. Iowa's opened up a 20-point lead. They're up by 7 at halftime. They have tripled their lead here in the second half.
And they've played very well, but I think it's also been a cumulative effect of the ability to run fresh bodies at Drake, especially along that front line, which is starting to pay dividends here as we near the halfway point of the second half.
Drake 6 for 12 from 3-point range in the first half, just 1 for 5 since the break. Kinsling trying to battle his way to the hoop. He'll go to the free throw line.
Nice job by Drake in this possession, which will lead to the foul shots of attacking Iowa off the dribble, get him in a scramble situation, and very fortunate because he really wasn't ready to catch that ball, and Iowa bails him out.
Bohannon's back in as Moss heads out. We see Bohannon and McCaffrey on the floor together here. Corey Kinsling played 30 games as a freshman, then redshirted. Shot 53% from the field last year as he makes that second free throw.
Regardless of the outcome of this game, this is a team in Drake that's going to give people in the Missouri Valley some problems. Because this is uncharacteristic in terms of this part of the early season. They've taken far better care of the basketball in the previous games. They're giving up a lot along the front line, but they're not necessarily going to see the physical stature of the front lines they faced in the last 2 games with Minnesota and now Iowa.
That ball ended up in Bayer's hands. Iowa gets a second chance. Bohannon attacks along the baseline, gets the drop and the foul.
And this is another example of fresher legs for Iowa, because watch this ball move around, and Drake just a half a step in terms of rotating over defensively. Bohannon able to take advantage and a chance for a three-point play.
Not sure I've ever seen a guy flex while he's flat on his back, but that's exactly what Jordan Bohannon did after getting that ball to go down. He missed the free throw. 13 points, 6 assists for Bohannon. He's hit a few threes in this game. That's Jalen Gibbs, freshman, missing the three. Hemsel gets another rebound.
Boy, Kriener did a really good job of sprinting to the rim. Nice job by Kriener. I mean, he sprinted to the rim, made himself available, and more importantly, it's a small thing, but very important, he put a target hand up so the guys could see him in transition.
Iowa's just had a massive advantage inside today. 33 rebounds to Drake's 19. Gibbs for three. Another missed three-point chance for Drake. The Bulldogs wearing a patch on their jerseys ever since the Minnesota game. But PFM, that stands for Paul Morrison, who passed away recently at the age of 100. There's a jersey on the sideline, too, on the bench that represents the number 100 for Paul Morrison, who was a Drake Athletics historian. He was an SID for them as far back as the 1940s. Certainly a presence that will be missed around here in Des Moines.
Some unbelievable stories as we talked to people around the Drake program. Had a chance to, did Mr. Morrison, to shake hands with MacArthur when he returned to the Philippines. I mean, you think about the history that a guy like that, he was born before World War I reached its conclusion. So a lot of changes and just a fixture around that Drake athletic department.
Pretty incredible life of Paul Morrison, and the Drake basketball team commemorating that as this season goes on. So Drake has done some rebounding and inside scoring presence there, what Iowa has done to Drake. It's a big part of the reason why the Hawkeyes have this gargantuan lead. There's two more inside for Tyler Cook. He has 15.
And you can see the legs just weren't fresh enough by Drake to come over for that double team. Remember at the beginning of the game, they were aggressively coming down and doubling. Cook sensed that and just able to isolate one-on-one and finish.
Timmer's been quiet for a second straight game. Here's McMurray for a three. Drake has not connected from three-point range in the second half. 1 for 8.
Boy, they missed Kriener again. Oh, he's begging for it down there.
Casey Daly out to Cook. Cook goes inside with the slam.
Iowa employing that zone defense, which they have for periods of time, and really starting to pack it in. trying to force Drake with those tired legs to maybe beat them over the top.
Timmer gets into double figures, plus the foul. But the Iowa offense moving it inside with authority here this afternoon.
Tyler Cook off the ball reversal here, able to catch on the ball reversal here, just backs it down. This is a couple possessions ago, showing a little bit of a rolling hook, and then to put a little mustard on it, fly on Freebird, the Hawkeyes up big in Des Moines.
Basketball on BTN, brought to you in part by State Farm. Here to help life go right. Fair to say that it's gone right for the Hawkeyes here today. They are pounding away at Drake. Big second half for Iowa. They're up 7 at halftime. They lead by 23 now. Well, Hawkeyes, as we take a look at how they've gotten the scoring done today, the sophomores doing most of it. Tyler Cook's had a good day. He's had 17. Jordan Bohannon 15. This is kind of a game that Iowa needed. They lost 4 straight games. Had some tough opponents along the way, including 2 conference games, Penn State and Indiana. Got back on track against Southern, but more of an advanced opponent here in Drake. They've handled them very easily.
And the one area that Drake could not afford to lose was the turnover battle, and they have. They're -5 in that category. But more importantly, Drake has been able, or Iowa rather, has been able to convert those turnovers into 20 points off, and that was something that was to Drake's advantage last time out versus Minnesota. You knew they were going to struggle on the backboards. They couldn't compound it and decrease their margin for error by losing the turnover battle, and thus far that's been the case.
Reed Timmer hitting the 3. Eventually become Drake's all-time leading scorer. Get closer to that benchmark.
There's the double. Nice job by Drake, getting the ball out of Cook's hands.
Reeder, as he falls away from the basket, couldn't get it. Thomas gets the rebound. We saw that double team work a lot early on. McMurray. He drops the 3. That's his 3rd of the day. Drake is the 13th best three-point shooting team in the country. At least 10 in 5 of their games. They're up to 9 in this one.
42% from behind the arc as a team. It's going to pay off the point there.
Greener. Long jump shot from Greener. I used to seeing him take those deep attempts. Murray avoids contact. Timmer with the underneath move, but Greener rebounds for Iowa. Nice pass, and it's Cook again, alone to the basket.
And a really good job by Bohannon, Wayne, of slowing up to allow Cook to continue his sprint down the lane. If Bohannon continues to go full blast, that passing angle is not going to be there.
Tyler Cook's been wearing out our slam cam today. Iowa's enjoying a great second half. A fun day of basketball here in Des Moines as Cook can get that one to roll through. Iowa State will play Northern Iowa later. It's part of this High V Classic. So Reed Timmer misses the 3. They've done this day of basketball here in Des Moines. Iowa's 4-1. The previous attempts, Brady Ellington missing the jump shot. A foul is called. Tonight on BTN, more hoops excitement comes your way. Ohio State takes on Appalachian State. Then Illinois and New Mexico State battle in Chicago. It's all tonight right here on BTN and streaming live on BTN To Go and Fox Sports To Go.
Kata Bates-Diop doing a wonderful job at Ohio State. New coach Chris Holtman coming over from Butler. And then in the nightcap, you know, the unifying factor there with New Mexico State and Illinois is the coaching tenure of Lou Henson, who took both of those teams. I believe it was 1969. He took the Aggies of New Mexico State to the Final Four. And then with our co-worker and great guy, Stephen Bardo, 20 years later, he took the Fighting Illini to the Final Four.
Unfortunately, Lou Henson battling some health problems. He's supposed to be at that game tonight, but will be unable to make it. I hope Coach Henson gets better quickly.
New coach for the Illini as well, and Brad Underwood.
Brad Underwood. That program back to the Lou Henson style glory days. Ohio State, they've got a couple conference wins already under their belt. Lyle Gandade hits from the free throw line. New head coach there too.
Doing a very, very nice job. It's a nice job there by Drake of getting the ball in the gut of the defense and trying to force Iowa to defend outside in.
Lose it down low. Garza couldn't handle it. Rivers feeding Thomas, who misses the three, and another rebound for Bayer is 14. Bayer almost just took it all the way himself. So go coast to coast with it. Speed down low, Cook another dunk.
Yeah, that high-low has paid dividends for Iowa today, and yet another turnover in transition, continuing to hinder the Drake cause.
Tyler Cook, 23 points, and he's been enjoying the view as we have from Slam Cam. Iowa's in a runaway. Iowa on their way to their second straight victory, their sixth in a row against Drake, leading 81-60. All with Sean Morris, I'm Wayne Randazzo. We've been impressed by Tyler Cook, 23 points. But Nicholas Bayer has really had a career day here today.
Done a nice job on the glass, knocked down shots when they were available, and been very disruptive with his hands. If you're Iowa, you have to feel very good about seeing this kind of performance from Nicholas Bayer today. Has been hindered by that hand injury, and it's a difference between going practice and going game speed, so I think he's starting to knock some of that rust off. 5 assists as well for the junior Nicholas Bayer. And they've dominated the Drake Bulldogs inside, as you would expect, doubling them up. Points in the paint, 46-22. But to me, the real difference has been Drake's inability to take care of the basketball. You knew that that was going to be very important for them to have a chance to beat Iowa. They haven't been able to do that. They're -5 in the turnover category and -8 points off turnovers.
That's a career high. 5 steals, a career high. And the 5 assists that Sean mentioned, 1 shy of a career high. So quite a day for Nicholas Bayer. Must be something about this building, or maybe it's Drake, I don't know, but it seems like he plays really well inside of Wells Fargo Arena, the one time a year that Iowa plays here. Garza for 3. And Luka Garza, 6'11", his second 3 of the year.
I'll tell you what, I like that kid. He runs hard, he plays hard. His shooting percentages haven't been indicative of his form, and it's starting to catch up in a positive way for Garza. He's going to have a nice career in Iowa City.
He has 13 points today. Loose ball, and Garza ends up with it. Another turnover. Iowa, despite the massive lead here, keeping the pressure on.
Nice cut. Really nice cut. They thought he was going to flare out, and then he comes off shoulder to shoulder. Nice job of moving without the ball by Owens.
It's Daly with the feed, and Iowa's up for their biggest lead yet. This game was nip and tuck on the first 15 minutes or so. Oh, Thomas missing the 3. He keeps chucking them, but not been falling in the second half. Just 3 for 13. Last few minutes of the first half, Iowa started to run. As Fran McCaffrey wants to get some different players in the game, Riley Till will check in. The BTN fans know that name. His mom, Shelly Till, part of the network. An analyst for women's games, but quite a day for Nicholas Bayer and Tyler Cook as they come off to a nice hand from the Iowa fans in attendance. A strange crowd here because there's 4 different schools that are represented here today. Nunji With the feed from Garza, it's 2 points.
And Garza, again, just showing some real savvy, that inside pivot, turn and face the defense, keep the ball up, look over the top, and find your teammate. That length that's in there right now and that they can put in there, that zone defense is going to be something for Big Ten folks to have to try to navigate as well. The biggest thing that they have to be cognizant of in that is that they don't get beaten off the dribble drive. That's been the only Achilles heel when they've utilized that zone defense. They have to keep the perimeter players in front, not allow them to turn the corner and put everyone in a scramble.
Good job by Thomas to force a turnover as Charlie Rose comes in for Iowa. There's Riley Till. Mentioned his mom, Shelly, where she played at Drake. So Riley Till, a redshirt freshman, gets some playing time here in the final couple of minutes. Dom Ewell, the senior in the game as well. Garza gets another rebound. Iowa's got 15 players on their roster. I think we've seen all 15 here today.
Well, a year ago, they had 9 players average double-digit minutes. So, Coach McCaffrey and his staff not afraid to utilize numbers and try to find a combination that works.
Bench wants Charlie Rose to score, and the senior does. The senior walk-on, Charlie Rose, getting on the board late in this one. Two more for McLean underneath. But for the Iowa Hawkeyes today, this has been a terrific performance. Nicholas Bayer, a double-double, 11 points, 14 rebounds. Iowa shot 61% in the second half to pull away. Tyler Cook scored 23, and the Hawkeyes are back to 500. They beat Drake 90-64, a complete effort, Sean.
Nice job by Iowa of utilizing their dominance inside, but more importantly, winning the turnover battle. If you were Drake, you knew you had to win the turnover battle and knock down threes. They weren't able to do either today, and Iowa dominant inside.
The Iowa Hawkeyes scoring a whole lot inside. 52 points in the paint for the Hawkeyes here this afternoon. We wrap it up from Des Moines where the final score was Iowa 90, Drake 64. For Sean Morris, I'm Wayne Randazzo. This has been a presentation of the Big Ten Network. Again, our final score, 90-64 in favor of Iowa.
When the action ends, the Big Show takes over. Highlights from around the conference, post-game reactions straight from the arena, and in-depth expert analysis. The Big Show